Binge Town, how we feeling today? It's your boy Dave with fellow weebs Alki and Kyle, and we are here continuing our coverage of Demon Slayer's Hashira Training Arc, discussing episode 6, The Strongest of the Demon Slayer Core. Last but not least, we finally get some screen time for the Stone Hashira, and as the episode title spoils, he is, of course, the strongest Hashira. We saw a glimpse of this during the meeting between all the Hashira, discussing the training process when he has that really dope moment of emitting aura that freezes the rest of the Hashiras. So that kind of explains how he was able to get them all under control. If you don't know me well enough, once a person is admitted to being the strongest, I'm instantly attached and hooked. So he has climbed the ranks of my favorite characters just with that one line alone. I don't know. It's just like Gojo, Escanor, just to name a couple. Like whenever they just announce I'm the strongest, it's just the best.
Escanor, what a pull! What a pull, dude!
One. That's just one of the OG moments that I think of a person just being like, I'm the best.
It's nice to have a type.
Yeah, it's kind of generic, but they give us these characters for a reason. So
that's fair.
Your type is big, strong guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it is.
Unfortunately, no fight scenes, but we did get a Muzan sighting, which is always, there to keep us on our toes. Tanjiro continues to just inspire and at least make me feel like I need to go out and start training to fight off some demons on my own. But
yes, Tanjiro is officially mother.
Overall, just a very solid episode. But Kyle and Alki, let me know what your thoughts were about the episode as a whole.
It's interesting. I enjoy the training, and I like the almost behind the scenes moments we're getting with the characters, but I do feel like I'm maybe getting to a point where I want a little more. The training is fun for sure, but we only have 8 episodes, and this could just be me being a victim of my own expectations, and maybe Demon Slayer as a show suffering from success of how great the fight scenes are. And while this episode is still very enjoyable to watch and it gets you hyped, like you're saying, and all the training parts were funny and all that type of stuff, it's just, I feel myself, especially when we saw Muzan, it's like, damn, and they keep saying it almost every episode, like, we're going to behead Muzan, we got to fight Muzan. So I'm just like chomping at the bit to get out there. But with all that being said, it's still incredibly enjoyable. And I love the Stone Hashira. He's just the man.
Kyle, I understand where you're coming from, but I finally feel like I got what I needed in this episode and that things are finally picking up. I know that 7 and 8 are going to crush because it was revealed that it's going to be 40 minutes for 7 and 8 is going to be an hour long, which is awesome.
Okay, did not know that.
Yeah. So what I liked about the episode is I have the long anticipated introduction of the Stone Hashira. He's really great. And the Muzan scenes, I mean, he steals the show every time he's on the screen. I like the little tidbits you got with number 4, how they revealed they've located 60% of the Demon Slayers. And it's not that the Demon Slayers aren't on their toes, but they definitely don't expect that. That's something that's going to slap them in the face. And I think it was pretty much confirmed that Muzan probably gave her like a power up. He probably juiced her up with blood. And he said, you are much, whatever he said, like my expectations have been exceeded with you and your abilities or something of the sorts. I'm just really excited because bottom line too, at the end of the day, the trio's back together and that's exciting.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. We just have Tanjiro and Zenitsu arriving to the Stone Hashira's training. And we are told that in order for them to pass, they essentially need to complete a cold plunge in the waterfall, followed by lifting up 3 logs and pushing a boulder 1 cho away, which is 358 feet. But sounds easy on paper, but it is realistically very difficult because the cold plunge alone, I think they mentioned that it's the dead of winter and they have to submerge themselves within the waterfall. Just, I don't know if there's a time limit, but it definitely seemed very brutal. Zenitsu's reactions alone described what it would actually be like for someone to do that.
Now, Dave, I think I know your answer to this question, but are we getting sick of Zenitsu?
I'm even a little annoyed with him. I'll say it. Dave, take it.
He had one. I thought the funny moment for him was the boulder of warmth moment when he's like crying and then he hugs the boulder and he's just like starts tearing up. He's like, I never knew it could be so warm. Like that part got me. But yeah, I just need to see him in action, man. If we're gonna see this much of Zenitsu awake, at least balance it out with some badass moments. He hasn't really shown anything in training whatsoever. So
He got to
we're
that
still-
rock pretty quickly.
I was just gonna say that was kind of cool.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
that
it.
was
But
cool. Yeah, he flashed his powers a little bit, but yeah, I'm waiting for that Zenitsu moment. And like Alki said, with the next couple of episodes being 40 in an hour, I'm definitely expecting things to hit the fan pretty quickly. Personally,
I have to admit, Kyle, watching this episode, I was thinking of your comment in last recording where you mentioned it feels a little bit jovial, or I don't,
It's very
goofy. Yeah, I have to say that was very evident. I think I was looking out for it. It's like almost like every single interaction that they're having, Genya and Tanjiro, or Zenitsu and Tanjiro, it's always with that like gag face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are
And
using it a lot.
and maybe they're trying to save time. Maybe it's animation related, and they're trying to make sure the episode came out, and they're cutting corners in that regard. It is a little bit annoying, but I'm staying optimistic because I really do think we're in the thick of it now, or we're going to get into the thick of it. We're pretty much at the doorstep. So I'm not taking away from the show, but I do have to give you your flowers there.
Yeah, I think it'll come true, or it'll come around is probably a better way to say it, with Zenitsu. Because like you said, we have 40, we have an hour. We're going to get a fight, I would assume, at the end of this. But it's just literally been every episode that he's in, he has the same reaction to the trainings. And while, yeah, there's parts of it that make me laugh, it is kind of like, all right. I don't dislike him as much as Dave does, but it's starting to feel like, all right, let's.
No, I'm with you.
Out of him. Yeah.
I know I've been saying he's going to have his come up. I don't know. Like he's going to be like this, I think, till the end.
Yeah.
If he has a sacrificial moment or not, time will tell. But I think this is just his personality. It's just not going to change at this point.
Yeah, the boulder pushing definitely reminds me of Goku and Krillin's training as young boys with Master Roshi. So it's just funny thinking that a like 6-year-old Goku was able to do this with ease, and how much he would just one-shot the world at that age, probably.
Yeah. Do you think a 6-year-old Goku could beat up Tanjiro right now?
Yeah, probably.
Just funny to think about.
Maybe.
I think that
close.
Like Goku could wipe the whole fucking world.
I think by the time he's fighting Piccolo, he's ready to wipe the world. But Kid Goku might be a good fight.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But the one comedy beat that I will never get sick of is Inosuke, as Tanjiro again reunites with Inosuke, who's doing the waterfall training, and it's not a reunition. It's not a reintroduction in the most pleasant of ways, as Inosuke starts drowning under his mask while he's doing the training, and Tanjiro has to save him, and as he wakes up, immediately calls Tanjiro by the wrong name.
Muijiro. What does he call him?
Monjiro. He's like, did you save me, Monjiro? Yeah.
He
like,
calls him a different. He calls him a different name later in the episode. I think that might be the best gag in the whole show.
That will never get old for me, honestly. Like, it's just so funny.
But I think we got the best. Even though Muzan steals the screen, I really think we got the best moment of the episode in an interaction with Inosuke and Tanjiro.
Right here.
Was it right here where he's like, I'll say this, the Stone Hashira.
Oh yeah, they're all sitting around the fire.
Yeah,
it's right after. Yeah,
it's like he's definitely the strongest in the Demon Slayer Corps. Like that was probably the best moment of the episode. I thought that was sick.
Oh yeah,
because Inosuke, you get flashes. He's not quite as. He's not a joker, like he's not a jester the way Zenitsu is, but he's funny as shit when he has those serious moments, because he is a capable Demon Slayer recruit. It's you got to listen, you got to tune in.
The way he says it makes me feel like there was just a ton of respect in the way that he said it. Like he looks up to this guy for being as strong as he is.
Yeah.
And like you said, I'm excited to see more of that.
Kyle hit that on the nail, hit the nail on the head there. He called it that Inosuke would really resonate with the Stone Hashira.
Yeah, their personalities seem maybe not so similar, because the Stone Hashira is very reserved and quiet, but they just seem like they'll go to that like extreme, to gain the strength. I don't know what it was about them, but it's just funny.
I'm really eager to
them two as like a duo would be hilarious, because Inosuke talks a lot and the Stone Hashira really doesn't say much, so that would be good.
Namu.
Yeah, that would be. The
We didn't get enough of the Stone Hashira's display of power. I really feel like they.
Yeah,
I know
they
he's
teased
just
it with the boulder, yeah. Because after he makes that comment, Zenitsu's like, "Oh, there's no way he can even do that." And Tanjiro's like, "Well, I actually heard he pushes boulders like twice that size, that distance, and in the background he's doing it." But yeah, I'd like to see some sword play here, not just the physical muscles of the
right.
Stone
Like I
Hashira.
mean, is it? It could be gravity still. I'm not throwing that out the window. It seems like it's likely an earth based, an actual stone based power, but I want to see how he uses it because we see the mist Hashira, the wind Hashira, and it's clear how they manifest their breathing techniques. I need to see that from him. The only hint we get is that like motion, repeated motion or whatever, which I'm not going to steal your thunder, Dave. I'm just really excited and I want to talk about every fucking thing, but
That's actually a good transitioning point because the next scene is Tanjiro doing the boulder or no, sorry, my notes are all messed up here. So Tanjiro, yes, so you're actually right. So Tanjiro passes the first two. He passes the waterfall. He passes the log lifting, but now he's stuck on the boulder pushing. And that's when Genya approaches him and mentions that, "Oh, have you tried the repetitive motion?"
Okay, yeah,
repetitive motion, right?
Yeah. I couldn't tell if when I was watching it was a mistranslation because I don't really know how what they're doing is considered repetitive motion because only because the emotional aspect of it when they're like think of and maybe the emotions get you into the physical state that makes you do the motion. I was just a little confused with the connection between emotions and repetitive motion.
That's what I took from it. When he said it, I thought it was gonna be some kind of like multiple like tap kind of thing because that kind of reminded me of One
Rurouni
Piece.
Kenshin is what I was thinking of.
Or Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah, exactly the same thing. But yeah, I think how I took it was it's like a two-step process. It's essentially enhancing concentration by performing an action such as chanting or, I kind of take that half of it as like Naruto when he's learning the Rasengan and he has the leaf in his hand to kind of focus on that singular point of concentration. I think that's the first part of it. And then the second part of it is what they visually showed with Tanjiro's heart bursting into flames and it all running through his veins. I think the second part is bringing out your emotions to a point that just maximizes your senses because they do also mention that it incorporates all of your senses. So I think it's like a two-step thing where you focus your concentration on what you want to do and then you amplify it with your emotions.
It's
repetitive motion doesn't fit the name of what they're doing at all, but
that's why I was just confused.
It was definitely confusing. We were trying to talk through it as we were watching the episode, trying to break it down. But that's
I don't really get it. I think it's definitely some sort of process that helps you synchronize your mind and body, right? But that's what breathing is already. I don't know. I feel like I don't really like it. I think it's one of those things like in One Piece where he learned the special punch in Wano. And now it's like that was like 3 chapters and now it's like that's never been mentioned again because it just happens all the time. Everybody does it. I think this is one of those things too. It's like they mentioned it and it's just going to be assumed moving forward that it is something that Tanjiro and anybody that's capable will constantly just equipped.
Yeah.
I also think it's weird that they showed Tanjiro using it and syncing it with his breathing when Genya mentioned, even though he's not a breathing technique user, he can do repetitive motion. It felt like that was a way for the showrunners to explain that it's not a breathing centralized form, if you will. And then they did the exact opposite. I mean, like I said, I think it's just something that it's going to help Tanjiro move the boulder, and then we'll see how it,
Yeah, I think the breathing aspect for Tanjiro is just maybe a nod at the fact that you could do both, like you can combine them. While Genya can't, it's not like breathing isn't a prerequisite to use that technique, but it's a technique that can be used in conjunction with breathing as well.
No, I was
I was just glad that it gave us a Rengoku shout, which was nice.
Oh
I had that in my notes, of course, too, because
we saw him.
How can we not get emotional when we see our captain, our Daicho?
He is
Beast.
he is a boss.
Legend.
I think it's kind of lame that they freaking segregated Genya. Like, how come Tanjiro and Genya get reprimanded and the other guy had like bloodlust, was ready to murder the whole training regimen? And I don't know. I mean, I
Because he's
get
a
it.
Hashira.
It's honor and respect and rank, but it feels a little out of character for the head guy. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it is just slaps on the wrist. I think it's fair to assume that while Tanjiro got suspended from the training because of his clash with the Wind Hashira, he went toe to toe with him. I think it's safe to assume he passed the training.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he doesn't really need it. He stood toe to toe. What else does he need to do?
Well, I would say yes in most of the other situations, but this one was like specifically whatever it was called, like infinite slash training.
Yeah,
Like what
that
he
was
did
straight.
was just strength
Right.
kind of base. Whereas
True, they didn't use a sword.
this is going to be more of a technical skill. I feel like kind of like what this repetitive motion technique is.
I was wondering if they were going to go back to the Wind Hashira training, and I feel like with 2 episodes, that's probably not going to happen, right? I mean,
I think his sacrifice is coming, man. I think it's just he's just gonna lay it out on the line for his brother in these up 2 episodes.
Genya?
Yeah, or no, I think the Wind Hashira is going to sacrifice himself to save Genya.
Okay, that would be wild.
But we're definitely not going to get infinite slash training with Tanjiro, right?
Probably not.
No. He'll probably learn on the fly, or
unless
just
we go right into it next episode. They're like, okay,
you passed
because the Stone Hashira training, I think they still implied it took him a few days, if not at least a week or so.
Yeah, well, he was on day 6 for the boulder.
Yeah, true. There you go. Yeah, and so I don't know how long. I forget how long his suspension actually was, but it feels like this could match up perfectly in time for him to just get right into it at the beginning of the next episode, and then the second half we introduce the invasion, probably
without Giyu, the Water Hashira. The Stone Hashira was the final one, right?
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, that's the way they made it seem.
Right, unless there's something that I think it could be Mark manifestation training with Giyu, because he's definitely wise and very talented.
Speaking of the Mark, they said they would be surprised if the Stone Hashira didn't already have it, which I thought was like, okay, that's pretty badass. I feel like he would have said something though.
Yeah, in the meeting though, he made it clear that at the time he didn't. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe some extra time sitting on the logs on blazing fire gave it to him because that's pretty much what he's been doing.
Yeah. I saw that and I really was like, there's no freaking way Zenitsu's getting in there. And then he immediately is like, don't worry, you're not going to have to do that. And I was like, thank God, because Zenitsu's done at this point. He's not.
Inosuke would have been in there for sure.
Oh, yeah. Without a fucking doubt, man. That's our boy. Yeah. But yeah, the Tanjiro's mark does get darker from the training as well. So we know that whatever this repetitive motion is, I think, again, because it's related to the emotion side of things, is also a correlation to why the mark is getting darker as well.
Definitely, and that's what the Mist Hashira, how he explained how, like, his process when he manifested it. He said he was brought to like a certain brink where it was like either fight or flight, and if you fight, you manifest, and if you don't, you might die.
Yeah, he did say, Genya, this is describing the repetitive motion, how it like raises your body temperature and that type of stuff. And that was true. Again, like you're saying, what the Mist Hashira had explained happened to him physically when he manifested the mark. He was like, my body temperature was like 200 degrees or whatever it was. So yeah, maybe it's like halfway there type of thing. But also
maybe
Tanjiro, the mark was dark before Genya taught him how to do the repetitive motion. So it's been getting dark. Regardless
it's been
of that.
getting dark from all the fights that he's done from last season, seasons prior. It's been getting dark.
I don't think I would have ever picked that up if they didn't say anything.
I definitely wouldn't have. I was actually going to say, do you guys think that's true? And I guess I can't really dispute it because it's written.
Money if we were to go back and watch season 2, we'd be like, yeah, it's definitely.
It was probably a little bit more brighter red, and now it's deeper red.
I think the animation is so good for the show that there's no way they wouldn't have been making that a thing from the beginning.
Fair. You're probably right.
It's one of those things where like you get we keep cutting you off when you're about to.
No, it's good.
It's just like one of those things where it's like you don't, when you see someone every day, it's not like you're noticing small changes like that. So
yeah.
Speaking of the body temperature, maybe Tanjiro's repetitive motion process, how he's clearly bursting The sun breathing.
Say it right. He's setting his heart ablaze.
Setting his heart ablaze. In turn, he might be raising his body temperature, and that might be a way for him to use it on
Activate it.
command.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
That might be
Hinokami
his way
Kagura.
of doing it. Yeah.
Got that Hinokami Kagura. The Stone Hashira too is hanging out in fire, so maybe he can easily get his body temperature up too. I'm so interested. They said the next episode title is literally just the Stone Hashira Hijime. I remember what his
name.
second name is. Yeah, so that's amazing.
I saw that and I was like, is he gonna kick the bucket after just being immediately introduced as the strongest to make things a little?
That would be wild.
Dude, if they got to him, it's like, what are the Demon Slayers gonna do at this point? I feel like
we said that last episode. It would be crushing.
Yeah, I need him to take Inosuke under his wing more like formally, beyond just Inosuke being like, "This guy's awesome." I need like a little Padawan situation where he says something about him.
I'm pretty sure beast training, if I remember the chart correctly, is a derivative of earth breathing. I'm pretty sure. So
I'm into it. Something we didn't talk about, but I just want to mention. I loved all of the Tanjiro being like their mom scenes of him like cooking and providing for them, and they're all like crying because it's so good, and they're all just like yelling out like "mommy." Like it's both funny and endearing. And it's just
the one with
Tanjiro's
Miso on it definitely caught my eye.
Yeah,
the one with
that was
Miso
funny.
definitely looked good.
Yeah, and then
dude, anime makes food look so tasty. Like I never wanted cartoon rice more in my life.
I know rice balls probably aren't that good, but when they make them in the animes, I'm just like, oh my god.
It's because whenever they're eating them in any anime, they're like enjoying the shit out of them. Isn't one of Zoro's freaking moves onigiri? Like, isn't that what that
it's
is?
His favorite food too, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's his favorite food. And it's his favorite move, so there's no coincidence there.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing for us to talk about here is Muzan, of course. So we get a quick shot into the Infinity Castle with Muzan and the Upper Moon 4. Muzan is essentially directing her to different locations in search of both Nezuko and the Master. And like Aoki had said earlier at the beginning, that he mentions to number 4 that she has grown a lot, essentially alluding to potentially have taken more blood from Muzan.
My initial comment will be a semi-serious one. Did she not look like the villain at the end of season 1, One Punch Man?
Once you said what she was gonna look like, I was like, yeah, it definitely looks like
Boros.
Yeah, Boros. There you go. Just when the eye snapped and it like opened on her, and I was like, whoa, that visual is. I was
thinking
familiar.
the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
But the last comment is, Muzan has never seen the Master before. Is at the very end of the episode, he's questioning himself, like, what are they planning? What do you even look like? And then he gives the Master's name. So interesting turn here that I wasn't really expecting, because based on how the Master has talked about Muzan in the past, we could have assumed that they would have met at some point, especially being related. So I thought that was an interesting development, and maybe makes for a little bit more of an interesting twist at some point for their relationship.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of would be maybe it's been so long. So what do you look like now? Is he aware that he's sick?
The demon powers maybe are messing with his head a little bit, and he just doesn't remember, something like that.
Yeah, I could see it where it's been so long. It's kind of like how are you type of deal. Like, what do you look like now?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. It did feel a little odd that he said that, because we also had talked that like they have this connection. But maybe it's more one-sided. Maybe he thinks so lowly of the Master that he just doesn't even remember him, while the Master thinks about him obviously way more.
It could be one of those kinds of situations there, but
doesn't matter. You better protect that neck, Muzan, because we're coming for it. Even with these,
that's it.
Yeah, we even got the fodder guys who give up on training. They got our back. They got the rear.
Oh yeah,
so
we're
coming for you, squad deep. We are coming for you, Muzan.
I really am anticipating a lot with this 40-minute episode. I love that we're getting the extra content mashed into these 2 episodes here. Any closing thoughts? Any final theories you guys want to throw out there before we wrap this up?
I think I'm good. I feel like I'm still. It's hard to say if anyone Hashira is going to die this season, I think. I don't know if I'm confident enough to say it's going to be the missed Hashira, while I do still think that is a series type of death that's going to happen. I don't
Get
know.
the fuck out of here.
I mean, I just want to, at this point, I've already staked the claim, so I might as well ride with it. I feel less confident because they literally showed him 2v1 people, so he's obviously a beast, but I said it, so I got to stick by it, I guess.
I still think either the Wind Hashira and maybe the Stone Hashira. That would be a wild twist.
That would be wild.
So. I think we're just going to get a lot about the Stone Hashira next episode.
So.
We're probably going to be like swordplay, maybe some backstory, maybe some displays of his power. And he might be the first to clash because, I don't know, he seems like very in tune with his surroundings, moving boulders, sitting in fires, in frigid waterfalls, and the like, and the whatever the hell. I don't know why I used that phrase a couple times. I don't never talk like that, but maybe he'll like perceive the freaking little eyeballs.
Okay, yeah. My like final take will be maybe it's like Neanderthalish of me, but if we don't have like at least an idea of a fight that's gonna go down after these next 40 minutes, I'm gonna be slightly disappointed.
Like someone pairing up.
Yeah, like if we don't feel like the gravity of two, let's say, opposing sides coming together, or whether it's the number 4, whether it's someone else, and depending on whoever the Hashira is, if a Tanjiro and them are involved, like I feel like I want something. If this season truly is just the Hashira training the entire season, I'll still have enjoyed it, but I will be slightly disappointed just because the other seasons have been so gas at the end with these big battles. So that's about it.
I would agree.
I want to say something. Take it with a grain of salt. My brother reads a lot of manga, and I don't always agree with his opinions. I do value them. He did say that reading this, like he wasn't thrilled with the ending of the manga.
The manga, not this arc.
Not the manga, just the manga. I'm not talking about this arc. I don't know how he feels specifically about this arc.
Yeah.
I know Kui likes the ending a lot. I know Kui's a fan.
Oh, he read it. Okay.
He's read it, yeah.
Anyway, my brother's put me on a lot of stuff. We don't always agree on everything, but he definitely has decent taste. And, it's just something I have been having in the back of my mind, kind of, because I still am optimistic about the season. But I have to agree with Kyle that I've been anticipating a clash of some sort, and if it doesn't happen, it's definitely slighted. I feel slighted,
there's
especially
never been
since
a manga that's finished that's ever
like 10 out of 10
had controversy.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
like,
true.
I'm thinking of like when Naruto ended, that shit was kind of whack a little bit to me at least, and then
it's tough when you get popular as this is. It's impossible to
the Neanderthals couldn't understand the end of Attack on Titan.
Okay, maybe they weren't Neanderthals,
but all right. On that note, that's going to be it for today's episode coverage of Demon Slayer. If you like what you heard, give Bingetown TV a follow on our socials at Bingetown TV, X, Insta, YouTube, you name it. June's going to be a very busy month for us as we are covering House of the Dragon, The Boys, The Bear. Who knows? Alki and I might hop on the pod to do a Kaiju number 8 discussion because it's been freaking banging. So
it's banging, dude.
Lastly, for our full podcast catalog, check out bingetowntv.com. You'll have a nice organized podcast list of everything alphabetical that we've ever covered. So we're certain that you're going to find something there that you like. And if I didn't say it enough, once again, we are Bingetown TV. And thanks for listening.